Hey guys, welcome to my AEW Full Gear 2021 preview. This this edition of Full Gear, I should say, is being looked at as the most anticipated one in the short history of All Elite Wrestling. And the reason mainly being because of the main event, which is the AEW World Title. And a lot of people have the difference in opinions on how that should go, and I will mention that myself. I'll give my own opinions on where I think it should go, what direction they should go in. Basically on who should be the one that goes over. They do have a lot of matches signed up. They probably have one more match to go that'll be announced probably tomorrow night on Dynamite. A lot of people are anticipating that, so I'll talk about that. We'll probably have a buy-in show as well, which will probably be the tournament, or at least part of it, the TBS tournament. And that's really about it. I think maybe one of the matches they might add in for the buy-in show will be maybe a battle royal, one of those casino-like battle royals they do. But I think it'll be for the women. So whoever wins that, I think, if they do a women's one, because they did the men's, recently at the at Allin, and not Allin, but at the anniversary. They did the casino battle royal. At the anniversary show last month. So I'm assuming that to kind of correlate with that, they're going to do a women's battle royal. I'm assuming that's what we're going to get announced for the buy-in. And if they do, I'll tell you who I think should win that one. And I think you guys will appreciate what I say there. As to who I think should win it. Now you might say, well, didn't they do a women's casino battle royal before? Yeah, they did, and that was at All Out, not All In, but All Out. That's what I was trying to say. And that was won by Ruby Soho, formerly Ruby Riott. So I can definitely tell you that not whoever, but if they make that battle royal match official for Full Gear, I can tell you honestly that there's somebody I know that not only me, but a lot of people would like to see win it, to get that future world title opportunity. But anyway, let's go down the list of matches we have here. And right now we have 8 scheduled. We'll probably have one more scheduled for to make it 9 officially on the card, and then of course you'll have one more added to the buy, 2 more added to the buy-in to make 11. You might have 2 additional matches added to the card as well, and I'll get into that in a moment. So we have 8 matches officially lined up for Full Gear on Saturday in Minneapolis at the Target Center, which has not been dubbed a sellout just yet. I mean, they're obviously selling tickets in a big way, but hasn't been dubbed a sellout just yet. But we might end up getting that officially announced on Saturday, because they'll still be selling tickets in apparently. But yeah, we have 8 matches officially. Probably have 1 or 2 for the buy-in, and maybe 1 or 2 officially for the pay-per-view added by tomorrow. And if not by tomorrow, by Rampage on Friday. So, what exactly are the matches? Well, like I said, we got 8 matches. We got all the main championships. On the line except for one, that being the TNT title. And again, like I said, we'll probably have some more matches announced tomorrow. But going over the list, let's start off by basically talking about what I could say is going to be added into the buy-in show eventually. What I consider is going to be, like I said, added on to the buy-in show. And what I consider being added in, I'm going to look at the brackets right now. I'm going to look these up right now. Guys, hold on for a second. So, what we have here is, we have Thunder Rosa. She's going to take on Jamie Hayter. We have Red Velvet's going to take on Jade Cargill. We have Hikaru Shida taking on Nyla Rose. And I think we have Ruby Soho taking on Chris Statler. And to me, I think the one that we'll probably get on the pre-show for the TBS tournament I think we'll probably get Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. I think that'll be our pre-show match. Part of our basically part of the buy-in. And if that's the case, I'm going to probably go with Hikaru Shida winning. And the reason I say that is because obviously they want to set up a matchup between her and either Jade or Thunder Rosa for the finals. I could just see that. So I'm going to go with Hikaru Shida beating Nyla Rose if that match is added as part of the buy-in show on Saturday. Now, if not that one, then I will go with Ruby Soho going over Chris Statler. I think Ruby has proven that, you know, she is ready to be at least a champion of some kind in AEW. So I'm going to go with her over Statler if that match is added to the buy-in. And then Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, if that match is added to the buy-in. Again, this is all based on which one of those matches I believe will be added. If Jamie Hayter and Thunder Rosa get added, I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa. And then basically, if that's not added, we got Red Velvet and Jade Cargill. I'm going to go with Jade if that one gets added. Again, this is all depending on which one or two get added to the buy-in, you know, as far as the TBS tournament goes. And like I said, those are my picks right there as to who I think will go over in one of those matches. One or two of those matches should, you know, they get added to the buy-in this Saturday before Full Gear. And the sun's starting to peek out outside. That's why it's getting a little brighter, you know, in the video, as you can tell. Now, speaking of the buy-in, like I said, one of the things they like to traditionally do is do a Casino Battle Royal-like match. And I know they could do a tag team one, which would be good too, because you got a variety of tag team combinations in there. But I think they'll probably do another women's one. If they do a tag team one, then it's going to be hard to choose who I think would go over. But if they do a tag team one, I would have to say give it to a team that a lot of people would like to see get a chance at least. I would say give it to the Varsity Blondes. That's who I think you should give it to. Give it to the Varsity Blondes to win that tag team Casino Battle Royal if they do a tag team one. However, if they don't, and then like with All Out, they decide, okay, for the buy-in, we're going to do a women's, you know, Battle Royal with the winner getting a future world title shot, then I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa. That being if her match with Jamie Hayter isn't part of the buy-in on Saturday, I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa to win the Battle Royal if her match with Jamie isn't part of the buy-in show, and it's either on Rampage the night before or on Dynamite tomorrow night. So I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa to win that, just like I'm planning for her to go over Jamie in their tournament match. Whether, like I said, whether or not that match is a part of the buy-in or it's on the Go Home show on the Go Home show edition of Dynamite or Rampage this week, I'm still going to go with Thunder Rosa. Now, if her match is on the buy-in, who else would I go with? Well, again, process of elimination, I'm going to basically go with this. If there's two matches that I think are likely to get a chance at being on the buy-in show along with a potential Battle Royal, is Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter and Ruby Soho and Chris Statler. Those would be the two I think will get the most likely shot at being in the buy-in show along with potentially a Battle Royal that would lead us into Full Gear. But the question is, who wins the match? Who wins the match if Thunder Rosa isn't part of it, if Jamie's not part of it, if Ruby and Chris aren't part of it, who wins it? Well, that's a good question. And there's a lot of names floating about right now in wrestling that are free agents that potentially could come in and win the match, do what Ruby did. But the question is, who should it be? Who would be the one to decide, hey, for this night I'm going to be all elite? Now you might think, oh, Athena could do it, but here's the thing, Athena can't do anything until a month later, if not until February. Now, the question would be, who else could they get? Who else should they get? And, the potential could be anybody. Potential could be anybody. But, if by process of elimination, if Shida's match is not on the pre-show with Nyla Rose, which again, I don't think it might. I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be. I think they might say that for tomorrow night's Dynamite or Rampage on Friday. But if it's not, then Rosa or Shida are the ones I'm picking to go over and win that Battle Royal. That's what I'm thinking. You know, I know some people might say that's kind of like, well, you're giving Shida another chance of becoming champion. That's true. But again, it's all based on whether or not their, tournament matches on the buy-in show, or those tournament matches are, say, for Dynamite and Rampage. But, either way, I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa or Shida, should their matches be either on Dynamite or Rampage, and, instead of the buy-in. I'm going to go with one of them to win. And if not, if not, then again, by process of elimination, I'm going to go with other talents. So I'll give you this way. I'll put it this way. Whoever's tournament matches are on the buy-in show, and if they do a battle royal, then I'm going to look at this. If Thunder Rosa's match with Jamie Hayter isn't on the buy-in, Thunder Rosa. If Hikaru Shida's is not on the buy-in, Hikaru Shida. If Jade against Red Velvet's not on that, I'm going to go with Jade. And, if Ruby and Chris's match isn't on there, I'm going to go with Ruby. I'm going to have Ruby come, two-time Battle Royal winner within the same year, so at least you give her another opportunity. So I basically have those four, that are in the tournament right now. If neither one of their matches are, on the buy-in show, but they put, on the buy-in show, and they put a Battle Royal to go along with the two matches they might put there, then one of those four, I believe, should go over. Now, as a wild card, I'll tell you this. As a wild card, I would say go with the Bunny. Yeah. I would say go with the Bunny. Go with Allin. And, you could probably get something out of her with this. You want to build I look at it this way. You want to build up Britt Baker as a tweener face, tweener heel, if you will, that fans support, but they know she's a bad guy, but they want to treat her as a baby face. Then to me, putting her in the ring against the Bunny, having Allin get a big win like a Battle Royal, having her go in the ring with someone like the Bunny, you're accomplishing a tweener face fan supporting her over Allin more so than anything. Because if there's a difference we could definitely tell you about and agree about, is the fan base. And the fans would definitely be behind Britt more than Allin. And that's the truth. So, yeah, that's just my prediction. My prediction is, these are the top four choices to win the Battle Royal. If they put it, should their matches not be, should their TBS quarterfinal matches or quarterfinal matches not be, not be part of the tournament, or not be part of the buy-in, I should say. Those are Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Ruby Soho, and Jade Cargill. Those are the four I picked to win the Women's Casino Battle Royal if that match is made official for the buy-in tomorrow night on Dynamite or on Friday on Rampage. Those are the four I choose. And as a wild card, just in case maybe, some of those matches take place already, or maybe they want to fill up the buy-in, I don't know. But as a wild card, I'm going to go with the Bunny. That's my choice. That's my choice. But those are the matches I think that's going to get added. I think 2 of the TBS tournament quarterfinal matches are going to get added. And then I think in addition we're going to get a women's casino battle royal added as well. And those are my thoughts on who I think will win each of them. Again, if Thunder Rosa's match with Jamie Hayter gets added, Thunder Rosa. If Hikaru Shida's with Nyla gets added, Hikaru Shida. If Red and Jade's match gets added, I'm going to go with Jade. And Ruby and Chris, I'm going to go with Ruby. So those are my choices on who wins those matches if one or two of them gets added to the buy-in along with the Battle Royal. And because of the process of elimination, should one of the other two matches don't get added and maybe take place on either Dynamite tomorrow night or Rampage this Friday or whenever, I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Ruby Soho, and who else did I say? I said Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Ruby Soho, and I think I said Jade, right? So yeah, the four that I'm picking to win their matches, those are the four I'm also choosing to win the Battle Royal if they add one. And if they add one, and on top of that, on top of that as a wild card, just in case Tony Khan makes the exception of the women in the tournament can't be part of the Battle Royal, I'm going to go with the wild card option of the Bunny. Those are my choices as to win those buy-in matches should one of them get added. Should one or two, if not all three, get added to lead us into Full Gear. Now, as far as the official card goes, a lot of people are projecting one or two matches to be added tomorrow night. If it's just one match, expect maybe either a tag team or a fatal four-way, or four-way elimination, four-way dance. And that would be Rhodes and Pac against Andrade El Idolo, and Malachi Black. If it's a tag match, I'm going to go with Rhodes and Pac winning, and then a Rhodes heel turn. That's what I see happening. I see it happening like that. I see it happening. I see it happen either after the match or maybe even during the match, which gives Andrade and Malachi the win. But I do see a Cody Rhodes heel turn happening at Full Gear. I really do. If it's a tag match. Because I see him turning on Pac. I really do. Now, if that's not it, if it's a fatal four-way, a four-way dance, I'm going to go with Pac winning. And I'm going to have it come down to him and Cody, because they'll take care of the individual adversaries. And then I see him beating Cody with, a roll-up, or maybe, getting him into position to where maybe they do something on the top rope and Pac hits, headbutts him off or does something, and then he hits the Black Arrow. I can see him doing that. And then once again, I could see, as a result, Pac's winning and everything. I could see him going a little old school where Cody goes to shake his hand, and then boom, he clotheslines him, turns heel. There you go. So you can still get your heel turn even with a four-way dance. Now, if that doesn't happen, if neither one of those options happen, and they go with two additional matches, Pac against Andrade and Cody against Malachi, or maybe even Pac against Malachi and Cody against Andrade, I'm going to go with Pac. If it's Pac and Andrade, I'm going to go with Pac beating Andrade. And if it's Pac and Malachi, I'm going to go with Malachi. If it's Cody and Malachi, I'm going to have Cody beat Malachi. Going to even it up. And if it's Cody and Andrade, I'm going to go with Cody. And now you might say, well, where does the heel turn come in, right? Will there be any heel turn if that happens? Well, that's the thing. If it's Cody and Andrade, and, we go with Cody, I could see Cody costing Pac his match against Malachi, and there you go. So I could see that happening, and you could set up a Cody-Pac feud, born out of that. So I see that potential. So I see, those situations happening. Either Cody and Pac will team up and face Andrade and Malachi, with either Cody and Pac going over and then Cody attacks him afterwards, or Malachi and Andrade going over if Cody decides to turn his back on Pac during the match. Now, if it's a four-way and it comes down to Pac and Cody, I'm going to go with Pac pinning Cody, and then Cody makes it look like he's going to shake Pac's hand, and then he clotheslines him. I could see that happening. And if it's two individual matches and it goes Cody Andrade and Pac Malachi, I see Cody beating Andrade and I see Malachi beating Pac, thanks to Cody interfering and going heel on Pac. And then you build something from there. Either way, you build something from there. Either way, what I see coming out of this is a Rhodes-Pac feud, when it's all said and done. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I see. That's what I see. Now, as far as the rest of the card officially goes, the first match, which looks like it could be the one that opens up the show, will be Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, that's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, with Marco Stunt in the corner, versus Superkliq, aka the Elite, the Super Elite, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, I should say, in a 6-man tag Falls Count Anywhere match, basically a hardcore 6-man tag. This one I think will open the show because you got 6, great athletes that will people will, be on their feet to see, pull out all the stops. And The question obviously is, who's going to come out on top in this Falls Count Anywhere match, and that's the emphasis about a match like this in a place like AEW. Falls Count Anywhere literally means it could be anywhere. They could do it. They could have the pinfalls happen anywhere, and expect a lot of, much to someone like Jim Cornette's chagrin, expect a lot of spectacular moments, spots in this match. But in the end, I think Cage and Jurassic Express are going to win. I really do. But then, and I know people might say, what is this? The night of heel turns? It probably will be. Because I expect Jurassic Express and Christian to win. But I expect then Christian to basically turn on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt by basically, from behind, hitting the kill switch, the unprettier, if you will, on Jungle Boy, and you can start a feud from there, going forward. Because you could have Christian basically based it on the fact that Jungle Boy stole his spotlight, many months ago, in that Battle Royal. What was it for? It wasn't All In. It wasn't All In that he stole the match in. It was what was it? It wasn't Revolution. It was Double or Nothing. It was Double or Nothing. You could have Christian basically state that he's been building this up for a while, and that when he won the Impact title, it kind of sustained him. But then when he lost that to Josh Alexander, that's when he realized he needs to do something, and he basically wants to take his frustrations out on Jungle Boy, because if they're supposed to be his friends, why weren't they there to help him keep the Impact title? So you could do something like that, but I think we're going to get a heel turn here out of Christian Cage. Even if, and I predict them to do so, even if they win the match. And it's going to be a crazy match. It'll be a crazy match. So expect a heel turn. Expect it whether or not the Superkliq wins, the Super Elite wins, or Cage and the Jurassic Express wins. Expect Cage to turn heel, especially on Jungle Boy. Alright. So the next match, we have CM Punk, Eddie Kingston. And believe it or not, Jim Cornette actually loved this. He said he felt like he was watching real pro wrestling again. Like this was wrestling as it's meant to be. Because all you have to do is let two guys go out there that know what they're doing and basically allow them to talk people into the arena. Talk people into buying the pay-per-view to see what's going to happen next. Because what you're allowing them to do is be real. And if there's anything we can agree upon between Punk and Kingston, is when you let them be real, let them be themselves, with or without bullet points, you pretty much will be, assuring yourself a sellout, in that arena, or you can assure yourself huge buy rates because of that. And what I see here with CM Punk and Eddie Kingston is a very physical matchup that will go back and forth. And I see, and this is going to be a surprise, guys. You think Danielson is the only one that can break out various ways to win? Expect CM Punk to hit not just the GTS, but to also apply the Anaconda Vice. Expect it. Expect it. You heard it here. Expect him to break out the Anaconda Vice on Eddie Kingston. And just like with Danielson, you have Eddie go to sleep. You do that. Or, if you really want to create drama and tension, you have Eddie get on the mic before the match starts and says, if this guy puts me in any kind of finisher, any kind of sleeping hold or whatever, don't ring the bell, don't ring it, don't ring it. You add drama and tension because you would basically have Eddie Kingston, who has said it himself, be willing to die in that ring. And if you have him come out either tomorrow night to help continue promoting his match with Punk on Saturday, or on Friday on Rampage, or even before the match starts, if you have him come out and tell the referee, do not ring that bell, even if I get locked into submission, do not do it, let me make that decision, you create a lot of tension and drama, because now you're wondering, will Punk, if he has to put him in, let's say, the Anaconda Vice, will he tell the referee, ring the bell or else he's going to die? Will you create that tension. You create that tension. And to me, I think that's hopefully what they will do. They will have Eddie tomorrow night on Dynamite, or this Friday on Rampage, even though it's taped, come out and say, look, come out and say, look. Well, I don't think Rampage taped or anything, but he will come out on Dynamite and Rampage, either one of them, or even before the match starts. And if they do this right, you can have Eddie Kingston say, look, do not ring the bell no matter what the circumstance. No matter what happens. And again, by doing so, you build that tension. You build that drama of the fact that this guy is willing to die in the ring against somebody that he feels and believes nobody, not even him, wants in that company, because they want that company to be about those that never get an opportunity and not those that basically are there because somebody wants to rub it in somebody else's face. Whatever. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. Story is definitely going to carry this match. And I do believe Punk's going to win. But the way I got a feeling they're going to set it up, it's going to grab your attention. It's going to grab your attention. It's going to create intrigue. And it's going to make you wonder, what are they going to do if Eddie, tomorrow night on Dynamite, Friday on Rampage, or even before the match starts, comes out and says, don't ring the bell for no reason. For any reason whatsoever. It's going to create some interesting dynamics. And I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait. Alright. But I do expect CM Punk to win. In a match that will be carried mostly by story. A physical match, that is, too. And expect both men to probably bleed. Expect that. Alright, the next match. Darby Allin against MJF. Darby Allin will have Sting in his corner. MJF will have Wardlow in his corner. And a lot of people are predicting an MJF win. I don't disagree with that. I think MJF can really benefit from a good win here. I mean, the fact that this story that they're carrying is that MJF basically looks at Darby as, like him, as basically the building pillars for the future of All Elite Wrestling to be built on. So that's a good story to talk about. But also, I like the fact that the difference that Darby points out is, yeah, you're right, I agree, we're the pillars, but I'm the only pillar that's won a championship. Where's yours? So that's a good story to tell between the two. And I do agree that if MJF can beat him, it does build MJF up for another shot at the world title. However, you do have the dynamic that with Sting being in Darby's corner and Waldo being in, MJF's corner, it does create the dynamic of, can MJF win a match clean? He's proven it. There's no doubt he's proven it. But can he win it when it matters the most? So it is a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Maxwell J. Friedman to win this. However, on what will be considered like a night of turns, I do expect MJF to win, but I do expect a miscommunication between him and Wardlow that will basically almost cost him the match, but in the end he will basically fix that. He will rectify that in some way that will allow him to win the match instead. Just when it looks like Darby's going to win, he'll capitalize on the mistake that Darby makes with that attempt to win, which will probably be one of his devastating coffin drops either on the ring apron or maybe on some, or maybe with some tacks. Maybe he's wearing a jacket and the tacks are on the back of the jacket, pointing with the points heading towards the opponent. I could see something like that happening and MJF capitalizing. But I do expect maybe a turn or at least a tease of a face turn for Wardlow after the match, because you could have MJF blaming him for nearly costing him the match. I could see that. But we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with MJF to win what I think is going to be... this is hard for me to say, but I think this one's going to steal the show. I think he's going to be a show stealer. And I'm not alone in that, but it will steal the show, especially with the result that we'll probably get in the end. Now, next up, we have the Lucha Brothers, the AEW Tag Team Champions, defending against FTR, for the, who are the AAA Tag Team Champions right now. And I'm going to say this right. I'll say this. A lot of people are expecting FTR, not FTR, but a lot of people are expecting the Lucha Brothers to retain their titles since FTR has the AAA titles. Not so fast. Because you see, they want you to think that, but I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to go with FTR regaining for the second time the AEW Tag Team Championships and joining the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks as the only teams to simultaneously hold the AEW and the AAA World Tag Team titles. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with FTR to win. I'm going to go with them to win this matchup. It's going to be a classic. You're going to probably see some blood spilled a little bit, but I'm going to go with FTR winning. And their win, along with MJF's, will basically be the starting point for AEW to finally get the Pinnacle up and running and rebounding from the situation with the Inner Circle and stuff. I see them rebounding from this. So I'm going to go with FTR. I'm going to go with FTR to win this match and for the second time be the AEW World Tag Team titles holders and simultaneously be the third team to basically hold both belts of both companies at the same time. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with FTR. I know a lot of people say the Lucha Brothers. They could be right. But I'm going with FTR. I'm going with Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood to win this match. Alright, Inner Circle versus America Top Team. Okay, the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz, taking on Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and America's Top Team, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Equivalis, and Dan Lambert. Now, in the Minneapolis street fight. That's right, a 10-man tag team Minneapolis street fight. And I know some people might say that's oversaturating, you shouldn't have to put that many men. Well, that's true. And along with the 6-man tag, you might say it's overkill, but you know what? If this is AEW's final pay-per-view of the year of 2021, Tony Khan obviously wants them to go out with a bang. And I don't blame him. And if you're in a wrestling city like Minneapolis, home of the AWA, then I think I'd want to go out with a bang too. I really do. But the question obviously is who goes over. A lot of people are expecting the Inner Circle to win. And I don't blame them. I mean, you put Dan Lambert in the match to take obviously the pinfall loss for his team and maybe create dissensions between ATT and Men of the Year. You know, that's understandable. That's good. That's good storytelling. You know, and all that. And that's one way to get ATT out of AEW and close out the year on a high note for Inner Circle. However, since he's getting a lot of heat, and companies, promoters love that about their heels, especially those heels that are in there on occasions, pay per appearance, if you will, then I'm going to surprise people here, and I'm going to say Men of the Year and America's Top Team wins. I do. And you know why I think they're going to win? Again, this is going to be considered a night of turns. Because I see Jake Hager turning on the Inner Circle. I do. Think about it. Think about it. Jake Hager has an MMA background. Last I checked, he's still undefeated in MMA, Bellator, whatever. So what better way to really get heat on Lambert than to have it revealed that he got to Jake Hager and appeal to his love for MMA to be a monster fighter, to make him officially a part of America's Top Team so he can compete in both AEW and UFC or maybe even Bellator. What better way to tell a story between both sides and potentially keep the feud going than to have Hager turn against the Inner Circle and then, believe it or not, even though it's an old WWE feud, because they did have a feud at one point, very briefly. Remember, Hager cashed in on Jericho, you know, when he became world champion. What better way to start a feud in AEW between these two? And the story you could tell based off that, the history, I can't think of any better, direction to go in afterwards. So I'm going to go with Men of the Year and America's Top Team to win, and I expect them to win because of Jake Hager turning on the Inner Circle. I do. Alright, so next matchup, Bryan Danielson and Miro in the finals of the World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Winner receives a world title shot. Now, Miro is in the match because Moxley, of course, as we know, had to pull out because of his drug issues, his not drug but his alcohol issues, and basically placing himself in an inpatient treatment program. And again, Godspeed to John. Hopefully he comes back soon. So Miro, basically based on the rankings, was put in his place against Cassidy, who he beat. So now Miro and Danielson are going to meet in the finals on Saturday. Now this isn't the first time Miro and Danielson have met in a tournament of such kind, of any kind, I should say. The last time they met was a few years ago, several years ago actually, in a King of the Ring tournament. When they were still Rusev and Daniel Bryan, and Rusev won that one. Rusev Miro won that. So the question is, who wins here? Do you go with Miro winning, and thus you build up a potential monster challenger for whoever the world champion is when they cash in, or do you go with Danielson, the obvious one people want to see, and potentially get that next opportunity against whoever the world champion is, if it's who we think it could be? That's an interesting scenario. I mean, obviously, like I said, the obvious would be Danielson, but it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up, and I think it's all dependent. It's all dependent on who walks out with the world title. If Miro wins, then we'll pretty much have an idea who walks out as the world champion. If Danielson wins, we'll have an idea. But then again, AEW, Tony Khan likes to swerve us. He likes to throw things around, make things more interesting. So it's a toss-up between Miro and Danielson. But if I'm going to go with a slight edge of a win, I'm going to go with Danielson because he can work with anybody, heel or face. So I'm going to go with Danielson, but I'm going to put an asterisk there because, again, it's a toss-up. They could go with Miro and finally give him the opportunity he never got in WWE. And, they could have the perfect individual set up for him to do it for or do it with. We'll find out. But I'm going to go with a slight edge, asterisk next to it, with Bryan Danielson going over. Then we have Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D., with Rebel and Jamie Hayter against Ty Conti and Anna Jay for the AEW Women's World Title. Okay. So a lot of people pretty much say this is a no-brainer. Britt's going to win. And that is true. I mean, on the outside you have 2 against 1. That is true. But I would not be surprised if they do an upset here. Now, they don't have to make the title reign for Ty Conti that long. They could give her a week. Britt gets her rematch on Dynamite. Britt wins it back. End of story. But right now, I do have to go with the obvious choice. It's Britt Baker. Right now, she's one of the hottest stars they got. People love her, even though she's supposed to be a heel. So I'm going to go with Britt Baker winning, but I would not be surprised if they shock everybody and they give Ty the win, but her title reign is only a brief week-long one at best. But, obvious unanimous choice, Britt Baker. Surprise choice, Ty Conti. But I expect if that happens, the reign will be a week. That's about it. But unanimously, got to go with Britt. These two will have a good match, but I got to go with Britt. But again, if it's an upset, expect the reign for Ty Conti to be a week. And then in the match, 2 years in the making, Hangman Adam Page, who made his return on the anniversary edition of Dynamite to win the Casino Battle Royal, to earn this shot, takes on Kenny Omega for the world title. You could probably expect Don Callis to be in Omega's corner because we haven't seen him in a while. So this would be the perfect time for him to come back. The question is now, though, do they pull the trigger? Do they go and pull the trigger and cowboy shit rules supreme at the end of Full Gear? That's a good question. And a lot of people are saying it's obviously they got to go with Hangman. They do. But yet you have people like Bully Ray coming out on Busted Open Radio and saying, no, it's not time. You still go with Kenny. And that is true. You still go with Kenny and that is, well, not true, but what I'm trying to say is, that is true. If someone like Kenny is still getting massive, reactions, massive heat reactions, either it's a mixture of boos and cheers or whatever, and he's still over, then yeah, why would you want to take the belt off him? especially since fans want to see the rematch between him and Danielson. You see, that is where the World Title Eliminator, finals comes into importance, comes into the spotlight. Because a lot of people assume that if they go with Danielson, that the obvious result for them, as far as the AEW World Champion is concerned, is Kenny Omega. You basically build to the rematch on a special edition of Dynamite, or you build to the rematch at the, forthcoming, as far as, reports are concerned, AEW Battle of the Belts next year. And then that's when you do the title switch, which with Omega, losing to Danielson. You do it there. But then again, if you have Miro go over Danielson, then obviously you got to go with Hangman Adam Page. So the World Title Eliminator Tournament is going to tell potentially the whole story of who goes over in the main event. But right now, a lot of people are assuming you got to go with Hangman Adam Page, and I'm one of them. I think right now with the reactions he's getting, the fact that people are chanting cowboy shit every time he comes out, and he's basically being very real when it comes to that. Yeah, I think you got to go with Hangman Adam Page. Even though Bully Ray, Hall of Famer and everything, has experience in this business, and he's seen it all, done it all. If he's saying, look, the time isn't right for someone like Hangman to win, then yeah, you got to respect and value his opinion. But here's the thing. He doesn't own or book AEW. Tony Khan and the people he works with to help him do that are the ones that, are in charge of that situation. So if I'm Tony Khan and I'm his booking team, or whoever I rely on to book the results of the matches, then I probably would go with Hangman Adam Page. I mean, yeah, Kenny Omega still remaining as the champion, that's a good way to build towards the rematch between him and Danielson at this time for the world title. I get that. But again, I think a lot of people pointed it out. Those in the business, those that are insiders in the business, those that are Hall of Famers, legends, and even fans have said, look, you can't wait any longer. Listen to the reaction the fans have with Adam. Do you really want to end the show with him losing again? Do you really want to do that? That is a good question. That's a question that obviously fans and anybody would ask Tony Khan. Do you really want to do that? And I think the reason, and this will be a good example here, as to why Tony Khan took over a lot of responsibilities from Omega and the Bucks and Rhodes and all them, because he knows that if he would have left them in the positions and with the power they have, Omega might say, let me go over Page. They can wait a little longer. And I don't think Tony Khan wants that to happen. I think Tony Khan realizes that now is the time to do the right thing, to pull the trigger. And the question is, will he do it? I think he will. I think he will pull the trigger. And I think that what he's going to do is he's going to have Kenny and Adam go out there, have a great match, storytelling and everything. And a lot of people are anticipating Adam Page to be the first to kick out of the One-Winged Angel. I do agree with that. I expect him to be, the first one to do it, legitimately in the middle of the ring. And I expect Kenny Omega to return the favor by kicking out of the buckshot lariat, but not a second or third time. I expect maybe the first or second attempts when he gets hit by it, I expect Omega to win, but I expect Omega not to kick out of the third one. So I could see that. I could see that potentially, happening. If you will, for Kenny to win. That's my dog. She's waking up right now. She's been sleeping all day. Animals are kind of going into a hibernation state when it gets colder around here. But anyway, like I said, I think Kenny will win. Not Kenny will win, but I think Kenny I think Kenny will kick out of the buckshot lariat 2 times, but the third time will be the charm. So I expect Kenny to hit the One-Winged Angel in the middle of the ring on Page. He will kick out, and then I expect Kenny to kick out of 2 buckshot lariats. But then I expect him to be hit with a third. And the reason I say that is because, even though it'll only take one One-Winged Angel for Page to kick out to go on to its victory eventually, I expect Kenny to kick out of 2 buckshot lariats and not the third one, because you keep him strong. You show how determined, he is to remain as champion, that it's going to take more than just 1 or 2 buckshots to beat him. So I expect Kenny to return the favor 2 times over by kicking out of the buckshot lariat twice, but not the 3rd time. But I do agree, Hangman Adam Page, now is the time to pull the trigger. Because if you don't pull the trigger, Tony Khan, and I know people are going to talk about this when they do the previews, but if you don't pull the trigger and you keep it on Kenny, then it shows that you are in the eyes of a lot of fans, it will show you are no different than a Vince McMahon in their eyes. Because if you're not willing to pull the trigger on someone like a Adam Page, right here and now, when the time is right, when the skillet is hot, when the lightning is striking multiple times in his direction, then it shows that you're just like Vince. And you're like, oh, don't worry, they could wait a little longer. Yeah, how did that work out for Braun Strowman? Yeah, people were happy he won it by watching it at home, but how well did that work out for him during his reign during the pandemic era? I'm just saying. The point that I'm getting at is now is the time. And if you don't, people will praise the pay-per-view, but they'll shit on this main event's result if you go the other way. And that's the truth. But overall, that's who I think wins. Hangman Adam Page. And I think it takes 3 buckshot lariats to beat Kenny with. And then the aftermath. Because I expect Kenny to turn face after this. I really do. If Adam Page goes over, which a lot of people are predicting, expect the Superkliq, the Super Elite, and Don Callis, because again, perfect timing for him to come back, expect them to turn on Kenny. Expect them to come to Kenny's aid, pick him up, and everything, and act like, oh, it's okay, man, you're fine. Then expect Adam Cole and the Bucks to triple Superkliq Kenny into unconsciousness. Or, expect him to kick him into unconsciousness after Don, from behind, probably hits him with a low blow. Right in the nuts. Expect that. Expect that to happen, and then you'll be on your way to a Kenny Omega face turn and an Omega Cole feud after that. A lot of new feuds are going to come out of this night. I guarantee you that. The ones I mentioned earlier and this one. Should they not decide to change their minds on the result. But those are my predictions, guys. Those are my predictions on AEW Full Gear for this year. Let me know what your thoughts are. And for this Saturday as well. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, as well as in the live chat during the premiere, which hopefully you've been doing. Like the video. Check me out at BW Rose's discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also check me out on BW Rose's on Vimeo for content you can't get anywhere else. Also check me out at Patreon at BW Roses for a $1 or $3 tier to be part of. And also check me out at not BW Roses, but check me out at my Venmo if you want to help donate there as well. So until next time, guys, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. And again, those are my predictions for Full Gear this year. This Saturday, I should say. And I am out. Peace.